game, and we're talking. We're texting back and forth about what our scores are going to be. And you brought the fact that Houston's a very defensive team.
Yeah.
So scoring more than
best.
one goal against them is tough.
Yeah.
We had opportunities yesterday to score at least, I think, 3 goals.
Well, what was that? The 8th minute? Darwin hit
Darwin
the wood?
had that. Yeah, hit the crossbar.
Yeah. We had, I don't know how many shots on goal. I think it was 4 shots on goal.
And there was I'm trying to think, there was one shot that midfielder, what's his name? Tall white guy. Why am I missing his name now? The midfielder.
Oh, Gregus.
One shot that he could have buried it, and he totally miskicked the damn ball.
Oh, yeah.
Over to the left. I'm going, dude.
Yeah, that was. We were laughing up in my section.
Oh, Gregus, dude. That's another guy I want to talk about, too, is Gregus. Last night, he played midfield great, and he did all the things you need to do to kind of keep the ball moving. That's what he was doing last night. And I love to watch a guy play like that, because that's what your deal is. As a midfielder, you've got to just keep the ball kind of rotating and kind of do your thing. And he was doing a great job last night, except for that missed kick.
Right.
He had a fantastic game.
You're going to have those.
Well, and he's got that knuckle kick that he does, and I think that's what he's setting up for.
Missed kick? Did the Vikings have one of their kickers?
No, it wasn't Gary Anderson, Tom.
Oh,
it was Jan Gregus.
I see.
But no. But it was
Still Scandinavian.
He is. He's Scandinavian. That's right. That's right. But they ended up the first half. They score a goal. Let's talk about the Mettenair goal.
Yeah, and it looks like they actually gave it to him.
They did.
It was a question about whether it would be an own goal or not.
Well, in watching it on TV, I thought it was going to be a kind of a lob into the box. And I think what happened was he kicked it, and the defender got a piece of it.
Yeah.
So it redirected it into the corner of the goal.
Yeah.
And I'm going, well, that's a goal by him. That's not an own goal.
Yeah.
Because he kicked it first, and they kind of,
Right.
it was the same type of, yeah.
Yeah, and I posted on Twitter in our account of whether it was a pass or a shot. And with the redirection, you have to think it was probably a pass.
It was a pass, yeah.
But, what? Who cares? It was phenomenal.
It was phenomenal. Because Angelo was right there. He was in front of the net.
Yeah, it was.
So I think he was trying to get it to Angelo.
Yeah.
And it just happened to get deflected and went in.
And that's one of those, I think it's goalie's worst nightmare.
Mm-hmm. Oh, yeah.
Is you have those redirections, and it's like...
Same with hockey. It's hockey the same way. You
Yeah.
redirect on a stick, and it goes somewhere else.
Yep.
So that was the one goal we scored. Actually, DQ had 2 chances to score a goal.
He did, yeah.
The first was that kind of kick that hit the crossbar. The second was he tried to chip it.
Yep.
Now, I know what he was trying to do, but if you look at the other players on the field below the goalie came out. He was going to defend DQ.
Yep.
And DQ went to chip it and didn't happen. He had 2 players down low that he could have passed it to, and they would have scored a flipping goal. Like, it would have been easy. And Jamie Watson talked about in the broadcast last night after that miss was he is struggling to get his shot right now. DQ is, I'm going to say he's in a slump, and he's kind of got it's like his shot's not working like it used to.
Sure.
He's trying to work himself out of it. And this little chip that he was trying to do was a way to kind of get him back into it. But he really should have done is passed it and let the goal get in.
That happened in the Columbus game a few times too, where he should have passed and he didn't. And I actually, from my own personal account, on Twitter said somebody mentioned something about him, and I responded and I said, hot take, Darwin needs to touch the ball less.
Yeah.
And it's one of those things that even after, last night he had a couple good chances. He really did well engineering the offense last night.
He did, yeah.
But it's still one of those things where he holds possession a lot of times, not all the time, but a lot of times. He holds possession a little bit too long. And, he gets his pocket picked a few times, and, he just runs into a guy bigger than him. And that's a problem.
I think last year when we talked about him scoring goals and then on top of that being able to pass the ball so well, I think his scoring feeds into his passing. So if he's scoring well, he's more likely to do better passing.
Sure.
Right now, he's not scoring well at all. So he's trying to get goals. He's trying to get himself worked up to that. And he can't see past that. He can't see to the fact that he can be helping his team out if he just does some other passes. Right. So he's trying to work himself out of that, and he's running into problems. Now, if he had scored a goal last night, I think we would have seen next game he would have played better and he'd be back on his game. But now with those 2 misses last night, we're almost to the point where he's in a slump, and we might suffer because of that.
It's possible.
And I hate to say it about him because we praised him all last year. We were DQ, DQ, and now we're seeing kind of the downfall.
And one of those things about slumps is he could be suffering from the fact that he's not the guy anymore. People are really caught up on Metnair.
Yes.
People are caught up on the fact that Ozzy has done so well.
Yeah, and Ike.
And it's like his supporting cast is not a supporting cast anymore.
No,
it's actually, there are a few guys that are level with him. And I think that I could see that being kind of a mental thing where it's like, well, I'm not even needed as much as I used to be. And that could probably lead to a slump, in my opinion.
I'm going to go, like I always do, I'm going to go to other sports leagues. There are some players, baseball especially, who are on teams and they do great, but their team totally sucks. And they go to another team and they're not the top guy anymore.
Right.
And they don't do as well anymore because they're not the top dog on a bad team anymore. They can't handle that. And I'm hoping that DQ is not that because he's got so much talent.
Oh, yeah.
That I would think that he'd be able to rise above it. But the next couple of games are going to be interesting because if he does not score in the next couple of games, I think as we get further in the season, Heath has to think about going, do we even start you anymore?
Right.
Is it best to start you or take you, put you on the bench and have you come in late in the game if we need to score?
Right.
Which sucks to say because, again, we were DQ all the way last year, and now it's kind of
I think you're right. I think it's one of those things where sometimes you need to have a break.
Yeah, we do.
And you just need to be told to sit down.
Yeah.
And, and it sometimes that harms you. Mm-hmm. We'll see. I think Heath has been a better player manager than people give him credit for.
He has been. Yeah.
I know a lot of people have complained about his bluntness and his public. His public shaming, I guess.
We talked about this a couple of times. I don't mind it one bit.
Yeah,
I don't mind it one bit.
And I think the team actually seems to respond pretty well. Mm-hmm. So, sure, maybe there are some players that don't respond well to that. Mm-hmm. But I don't think I see evidence of that with us.
No,
I think he's willing to call players out publicly, which I personally wouldn't do. But whatever. I think it's time that he's going to have to eventually make that decision with Darwin.
So we win the game 1-0 yesterday.
Yeah,
it puts us. And if Dave was here, he could tell us what the standings were now.
We're fifth.
We're fifth now.
I actually did my homework.
Okay, yeah. Well, thank you.
Yes.
Without Dave here, we're kind of lost. So we're fifth now. Next Saturday, we have a game next Saturday.
We have a game Wednesday.
Wednesday, that's right.
Against Atlanta.
Yes.
In Atlanta.
Yeah,
and that's an interesting game because we're now on the same level as Atlanta.
We are. Yep, we are.
Which has never happened.
So that should be an interesting game against Atlanta, and I hope that we could at least pull off a tie.
It'd be nice. We don't have a draw on the road yet this year,
Yeah,
so it'd be a good one. Now, Atlanta isn't scoring at all.
No.
They have only, I think, 12 goals on the season.
Well, they lost what's his name in the offseason.
Yeah, you know, it's a shock how losing a player can.
Yeah.
And on top of that, adding a manager that actually isn't really that good.
No,
But-
he's not. He tried to change things up too
Yeah.
much. Yeah.
So it'll be interesting. You know, if we're in fifth, I think I don't recall that Houston has a midweek game, and so if we could get a point, we'll slide into fourth.
Yeah, it'd be nice.
On goal difference, I believe, and then if we win, we'll overtake Houston. I don't know that we've been that high on the table.
I don't think we have.
Could be wrong.
Pretty sure
I
we
don't think
have. Pretty sure we have.
So
So we go into this game against Atlanta, and then we kind of have, which is why we're kind of might be redoing the podcast a little bit because we have little breaks.
well, we have Philly, and then we have a break. We have a weird
yeah.
break.
So winter break
Because it's the U.S. Open Cup
U.S. Open
break.
Cup. Yep.
And we don't know what our games are yet. So
No, we don't. So I mean, that's why we're kind of, might be 2 weeks, might be 3 weeks.
Yeah.
We don't know yet. So I think this is a good time to break.
Yeah, I think so too.
And then we're come back from the break, and we're talking about Romario,
Right?
who we didn't talk about in the first half. He is no longer with the team, and there's reasons behind that. We're going to talk about that a little bit. We have some USL stuff to talk about.
Yeah.
Sterling, I think you want to talk about the little lawsuit action.
Go Twins.
We will talk about the Twins a little bit, even though this is not Gleeman the Geek. We will talk about the Twins because they've been hot this year. And Tom is here, and he's a big Twins fan. So we'll talk a little about the Twins just briefly. And then I know this is going to get old, but I do have one thing to say about zombies.
Oh, good God.
Because we were in Chicago, and something happened in Chicago while we were there about zombies that we were going to have to talk about.
Do I know about this?
I don't think you do, but it's zombie related. So we'll talk about that a little bit.
So then, I'd like to give an update on Minneapolis City because I am sporting their jersey today.
You are having a jersey day. And I want to say about the jerseys, Summit Brewing
Yes.
is a sponsor, and I like that. I do like their jerseys are pretty fantastic.
Yeah, and then, of course, we'll talk a little briefly about Madison.
We'll talk
too.
about Madison. We'll give an update about what we're doing down there. We still haven't heard back from the Flock about where we're doing our podcast at.
Yeah, I think they're working on it.
They're working on it. They're working on a brewery to do our podcast
Yep.
at. We have our hotel rooms, so at least we're going to
Yep.
be there, and we have a place to stay. So
We need our tickets yet.
We still need to get our tickets, which should be a problem, but
One small.
one small
Yeah.
thing. Yeah.
Which, by the way, they had record attendance last week,
we
so
should probably
we
talk
probably
about,
should
talk about
get
getting
the
this
tickets.
now. Yeah. So come back from the break and talk all about that. We'll see you guys in a little bit. And welcome back to the Lunacy Podcast. Of course, we're still in Tom and Jan's garage drinking beers. Sterling, you're still drinking your unicorn because you got the big can.
Yeah, enough beer for me today.
I went with Surly First Avenue beer, which is their new ale. I think I've said on the podcast before, they got rid of Cynic Ale, which is my favorite Surly beer of all time. I drink that all the time. This is kind of their, I guess, replacement for Cynic Ale. It's okay. It's not Cynic Ale, though. Whatever.
Aquafina.
And Tom's drinking Aquafina because he doesn't want to drink. He doesn't want to drink any beer right now. We have neighbors passing by waving at us. We haven't had any sounds yet, though.
Right.
We're waiting for that one sound to happen
Yeah,
during the
I
podcast.
still maintain we're going to get attacked by birds.
Well, it could be. It could be. Well, there's no pressure washers, nobody mowing lawns, no dogs, no kids,
We
nobody
have
playing.
one in the garage here. Do you want me to start?
No, that's okay. We'll pass on that. But before we get into Romario Barra talk, because we had talked about him leaving the team, I did want to mention during the last